Hello everybody, and welcome back to Blaster Master Zero. Sorry for the delay, I just kinda got caught up in watching Turn A Gundam, but now we're going to be getting back to something that more approaches a normal schedule for these sorts of things. So anyway, we are still underwater. We still don't have the subparts, which means we're still stuck at the bottom of the sea. So we're still going to have to deal with all these scuba men and all that. But now we know exactly where we're going and what we need to do to get there. I decided to explore a little around just to make sure I didn't miss anything because, you know, I want the good ending. And looks like we're pretty good for now. So now it's time for us to finally make some progress around here. Well, and hopefully not die. Okay, areas like this are a bit of a pain to get through because the only really decent way to get through it is to just crawl underneath all of these currents. You can try swimming up the middle, but you're not all that likely to get very far doing it due to how, well, appropriately floaty these swimming controls can be in this game. I was just firing off my blaster rifle to give me something to do. I didn't expect it to actually do anything to anyone. Okay, this dungeon actually has a couple of exits, and we're going to be taking both of them because both of them lead to things that we need. And I drowned. Yeah, you only take 1 damage from drowning, but it's an experience worth avoiding. Gonna grab some of these, so, you know, just in case. Somehow I am still full up on ammo. Well, that's, ominous. So you take out this guy. There are a couple of routes you can take through this area, and I'm going to be taking the upper one because that's the one that I actually remembered. I really like the swimming shadows they have around here. They lend a lot of flavor to the dungeon that wouldn't otherwise be there if, well, if this was an earlier version of this game, I mean. The original Blaster Master was a game that was too difficult for its own good. Learn to swim! Just gonna make sure of something before I head this way. I don't want to be going towards progress quite yet. Yeah, I should probably talk a bit about the history of regional difficulty in NES games. Well, it's commonly believed that a lot of games were just made easier for Western audiences. Like, most notoriously things like Final Fantasy IV. The truth of the matter is that a lot more games were made harder for American release on the NES. Because certain companies did not like our rental markets. Because, you see, rentals weren't really a thing that happened in Japan, at least as far as video games went. So to deal with the fact that people in the US could actually rent and play through a lot of these games, some of these games were made harder, like aggressively harder. Probably one of the most notorious adjustments that was made was actually to the game The Adventures of Bayou Billy, which mathematically is about 4 times as hard as the Japanese original Mad City. I've played both, and it is a world of difference. Mad City itself is a pretty basic but still fairly enjoyable NES beat-em-up. But Bayou Billy is a problem. And it's not a problem that I can solve. Like, in addition to making enemies take twice as much damage and you taking half as much damage, they pulled things like making the driving courses harder than they were in the original. And Bayou Billy wasn't the only one to get this kind of adjustment. Hold on, I was just dealing with some stuff outside of the game window. Yeah, Bayou Billy wasn't the only one to get that kind of adjustment. A lot of games did. Like, Castlevania 3 had damage by level instead of damage by enemy. So the early game was a little bit harder, but the later game was quite a bit harder. And some of these games' difficulties were adjusted to the point that under certain circumstances they could become unwinnable, like the 7th Saga. And then there was Contra Hardcore, which removed the fact that your character in the original version could take 3 hits on each life, whereas in the Western release, you were a one-hit wonder like previous Contra games. That kind of stuff happened all the time into quite a few games. Though the ones that mainly suffered from it were action games. And absolutely everything that was localized by Working Designs. Working Designs' localized games were rife with poorly balanced gameplay changes. Oh boy. And we're cut off from Eve, too. Okay, so Hardshell moved his way around the room, and all of his shots are destructible. However, if you're not using the wave cannon or some other similarly piercing weapon, you can only hit him from behind, or with explosive special weapons. But I had the wave cannon, so this was no problem. It would never be a problem. Now, where's our boss reward? There's the submarine parts. Now all we need to do is make it back to our tank in one piece, and we can start getting out of here. We've probably missed a power-up though, so we're gonna pick that up on the way out. But since we can just ride the currents all the way back, it'll actually be a lot faster getting back than it was getting here. For once, these currents are actually useful to us. I'm going to be checking the map a bit because there are some parts up above us that we have not yet explored, and we kind of want to do that before doing anything else. I know we're missing the map for this area, so I may have to just climb up there to get that. By the way, funny story about the life extender I picked up in this area. Missing that life extender is the reason I got a bad ending the first time I played through this game. So I had to climb back to an old save, go all the way back here, get the life extender, then go all the way back to the end of the final area. So it's time for us to do some more exploring. Okay, that'll take us to the exit where we do not want to go yet. But we haven't been through here. Yeah, one of the things I like about Blaster Master Zero and Shovel Knight and all that is that we're now in a time where people can make these old-style games while also having a clue about basic game design. So you get the fun of looking at games being made with the old-style limitations that sometimes enforce some interesting creative choices, but without the sometimes absurd and baffling difficulty that old style produced. Because even when games were difficult in the olden times, a lot of the time, there were plenty of times when it wasn't necessarily by design. Why did I go back in there? Like in Ultima 2, it was impossible to finish the game without some very rigorous experimentation with the controls, because finishing the game required the use of an undocumented keyboard command. And things like that just happened all the time. Again, part of the reason I go back and actually play the older games is to make sure my memory doesn't play tricks on me about how good they were. Oh, so what's going on out here? No, speak strong as you like. Okay, so this is the ice level, and it's as tricky as you might expect. Okay, no new dialogue from Eve here. And this is where the tackle starts becoming incredibly useful. Because these grubs take more than one hit from your main gun, but the tackle destroys them instantly. Okay, so here's the gimmick to this area. These rooms will freeze the water in the tank areas, and while ice in these areas can cause you to slide, the flamethrower can actually get rid of them. Get rid of it. Ice is a collective, not a plural. Also, turning on the ice activates those inert drones you saw before, and if you get close, they start sprouting out giant ice spikes. Now, those little fidget spinners over there, they only travel on floors that have ice on them. So, even if you don't want to deal with them, you can always hem them in. Now, here's the fun part of the flamethrower. It can destroy these spikes. As long as you have the flamethrower, passing through areas like this is no problem at all. However, it is also the second highest weapon on the weapon bar. So, good luck, buddy! Yeah, the fact that the weapon bar does a lot more useful and varied things is probably one of the best additions to this version of Blaster Master. Yeah, those are the spikes I was talking about before. Thankfully, they're detection radius is actually smaller than their attack radius. So there's a little area you can get close enough to them that they'll activate their attack without being in range to actually hurt you. Plus they also destroy the ice blocks for you if you want to let them do that. Yeah, the other thing about the Spartacle is that it can actually dash over gaps. But it cannot break the blocks. Yeah, the thing about these control rooms is they get more pointy the further you get into this area. It's not a big deal, usually. Let's see, do we need to go in there? No! Good. Less places we have to explore, the better. Okay, so these little red spike things that we are seeing here, we can't destroy those things yet. We will be able to, but not right now. Just gonna grab this energy from here so I don't have to wait for my tank to regenerate it. But I was thinking, well, maybe if I just sat in my tank, it would have regenerated all this stuff in the time it took me to crawl through here. Just a bit of experimentation, I guess. So now we have enough hover juice to actually get all the way up here. Yeah, I think this is the area where managing your hover is the most difficult and crucial. But now we're free to move forward. The control rooms not only freeze the water, but they also create the ice blocks here that you use to actually navigate these areas. as much as I might complain about ice levels, this is actually one of the most tolerable ones because it doesn't have any instant death hits or instant death spikes. It just requires you to be on the ball. Okay, we just get through here. Okay, so we need to get out of our tank, get on this platform, and then jump onto this ladder. Let's try that again. I don't know the exact distance, but I think it's you fall by more than something like twice your height, you are instantly killed. But I'm not about to experiment, at least not on camera. Thankfully the game auto-saves, well, auto-quick saves whenever you step out of a room or a dungeon or whatever. So we have to go back through all this again. It's no big deal, we just need to avoid doing that thing we did the first time. Yeah, the thing is you can't exit the tank while standing on that platform. Oh, another one of these areas. Oh, so it doesn't matter which way I go, so long as I go one way. By the way, the Flamethrower does do damage over time, so there are some enemies you can just tag with one fireball and not have to worry about them. And whoops, I lost my wave cannon. But that's okay, it's not actually that useful against the next boss. The turret, on the other hand, is almost crucial. Okay, so this enemy will target you with these remote attacks, and then you have to shoot it once the dome opens up. Once you reduce it below half health, it sets things on ice, making it harder to move around and avoid the attacks, like so. However, dropping a turret will focus the enemy's attention, allowing you to just attack at your leisure. And hopefully not get hit too much. Now, what's this special weapon? Artillery bombardment. Beautiful. Well, that's it for this time. Be seeing you next time on Blaster Master.